Mhm.
Well, hi everyone. We are A Walk with My Angel, and we are back with our monthly podcast. And as always, before we get started, I wanted to give you proper warning. And what this is called, um, it's called a trigger warning. So this journey feels very lonely, but you don't have to walk it alone. You have things like Talkspace and Better Health that you can reach out to. What this podcast video broadcast will be talking about is stillbirth. And we know that that can be a touchy topic. And depending on where you are in your journey, you may not be ready for this type of conversation, and it's perfectly okay. So, we want to let you know right now we are going to be talking about stillbirth. We're going to be talking about loss, about grief, and we're going to be using our personal journey to do so. So if you feel like that's a little bit too much for you, and we perfectly understand if it is, go ahead and click off on this video. It is being also live streamed to YouTube. So maybe 2 months down the line or 6 months down the line, when you feel a little bit more up to it and you're ready to view this type of conversation, you can go back to it. And we're on YouTube, the same name, A Walk with My Angel. Um, if you find this triggering, you can click off of this because your mental health is very important. And if you are not ready for this discussion, believe me, we know, we've been there, and it's okay. I would ask that you seek out a pastor, counselor, a really good friend, family member that has your best interest at heart. And when you're having a good day, when you're having a bad day, contact those people so that you have somewhere safe to go and talk and express your heart. With that said, what is it we're doing here today? Well, being an angel mom has been compared to being inducted into a club you never sought admission to. Each month, you're going to join your host, myself, Carissa, and my co-host, Letitia, and we are going to be discussing the many facets of stillbirth and our personal journey. From trying to survive to ensuring we are thriving, this journey particularly can be rough. We are not mental health professionals, but we do know that this has touched every part of our lives. And these broadcasts are, again, based on our personal journey. And we are going to talk about money, relationships, to rainbow babies, to insensitive comments that we still get. We are going to be laying our journey bare, hoping something from our lives can give you hope and direction. So before we get started, I would ask that you share this with someone. It may be a conversation starter for someone who is struggling, or it may be for someone who doesn't know what to say, and they have a family member or a friend who's going through miscarriage or going through stillbirth. Go ahead and share this with them. We are taking each topic one at a time, and we're doing it this way because often stillbirth is discussed in like a one time balloon type of conversation, and a bunch of facts and dates are thrown out at you. Or even when someone does tell you their story about how they went through a stillbirth and they have a stillborn angel, we don't get to see how we don't get to see how that person's journey is going. We don't get to see how their life changed. We don't get to see how they healed. We don't get to see the part that grew or that thrived out of that stillbirth. We want to bring awareness to stillbirth marriage and how it shifted our lives, and how we had to adapt to the new changes. So, as always, if you have any question, feel free to DM us. Facebook, we are Walk with My Angel. On Instagram, we are A Walk with My Angel. Or if you don't want to do either one of those and you want to send us an email, that's great too. Our email is awalkwithmyangel@gmail.com. So, with all of that being said, I want to introduce these handsome men that are sitting next to us. This lovely gentleman next to me is my husband. His name is Judah.
Good evening, everyone.
And Letitia.
This handsome man sitting next to me is my husband, Ladell.
everybody.
So today we are having Black dads discussing stillbirth. A lot of times we don't really get to see our men's point of view. We don't get to see the male perspective. We get to see the mom delivering or the mom holding the baby or the mother's point of view. We don't often get to hear their point of view because they may not have carried the baby, but they still experienced the loss of a child. So today we are going to have that discussion with our wonderful men. But first, let's do a check in. So, Letitia, how has your month been?
It has been good. We went on our family vacation, so I got some relaxation time. So it's been good this month. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. This month has flown by. It's been
Right.
this month has flown by. July is our anniversary month, our angel baby's birthday. So we are looking forward to some vacation time. We're looking forward to some rests.
Hmm.
A few days would be nice.
Just a couple of days. Just a couple of days of rest is what we're really looking forward to.
Right.
So how has your month been, babe?
It's been good. Work has been has been a lot. What's really good is at our church we had a wonderful event with our men in which we did a big cook-off thing. We called it like a bro daddy cook-off, and that went off with success. And then you guys, the ladies at the church, blessed the men the night before with this father-daughter dance with our babies, and it was
That
a
was
really
fun.
really precious time.
That was
So
really fun.
it's been a wonderful month of celebrating.
That was nice. How's your month been?
So my mom been relaxing. Like you say, our family vacation. But it's over with now. It's back to work.
Yep.
I want to
That's it.
I can't wait to say that. I
I
can't
know.
wait. So, Letitia, you want to dive us in real quick?
Yes. So if you have any questions, you can comment on this video and ask questions, or you can email us at a walk with my angel at gmail.com, or you can DM us on Facebook or Instagram.
So, let's dive into these questions. You ready?
As well.
So, I'm gonna ask you, Ladell, first. I'm gonna ask you, but I think, yeah, I think your daughter is a little bit older than our son. So I'm gonna ask you the first question. Um, for you, when the stillbirth was happening and you found out that the baby wasn't going to survive, how did the doctor or your wife explain to you what was happening?
Well, as I can remember, taking going back, I had got a phone call, and she says, "Well, it wasn't a heartbeat." So what pretty much raced through my mind is she joking or what you mean not a heartbeat? So because the last appointment the baby was good.
Mm-hmm.
So and she said really it's not a heartbeat. So I said okay. So I rushed to the hospital and still was unbelief that
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't a heartbeat. So
So,
and I just had to face reality, and so on and so on, through the story. So
Yeah.
do you remember?
I remember being at work. We were in one vehicle, and so you took the truck
Mm-hmm.
um, to the hospital. And so, and what's funny is where I work and where the hospital from Louisville to Fort Worth, probably about an hour drive. And so, for you to go for your initial visit was for your doctor visit. It was definitely an intent of you took me to work, dropped me off, and then we got and so when I got the phone call from you, it was the doctor can't find a heartbeat. And I remember having to call our friend Shayna and have her get off of work, come literally take me from my job all the way to the hospital to be there with you. And it was one of those, it really was. It was a sense of unbelief of, okay, what is going on? Assuming that, okay, they're just having an issue trying to figure out where's the heartbeat. So I remember getting to the hospital there with you, and I remember having the doctors and the nurses do the sonogram again, and just to confirm what they've already informed you.
Wow, that is our same story. We was down to one vehicle as well, and I had dropped him off that morning at work, and he had to get a ride to the hospital to where I was. And his job was in Grand Prairie, and I was at Texas Harris Methodist off of Hewlin.
That's where I was.
You live close.
That's crazy.
Wow.
So as a dad, did you and this is for you, Judith. As a dad, did you feel you got the support that you needed to heal?
So that took a lot of time. I think the biggest support was truly Carissa. And that was just the relationship, the friendship that we had, kind of that being there for one another. My mom and dad were there to be able to be just a shoulder on when necessary. I, as a guide, I really wasn't looking for a lot of outside resources to be able to go and just kind of shed my emotions and things like that. So my first go-to has always been Carissa. And then my mom and dad just being present, saying, hey, if you need something, we're there, to be able to just kind of lean on them. But at that time, it wasn't going out finding resources, but it was being able to have that interconnection with my wife as well as with my mom and my dad.
So what about you? Did you feel like you had the support you needed?
Yes, I feel like I had the support that I needed, but my main focus on is how my wife was feeling and trying to be strong for her as well, and I, was, of course, I was feeling some type of way about it, but I had to be strong in that situation for my family. So, I have my moments, still have my moments at times, but I had to be strong for my wife and kids.
I understand.
Yeah.
So was there ever a moment that you needed time to yourself, or you needed a moment to collect yourself because like we weren't there?
I don't think I ever created that space that I really needed. I think that space just kind of grew as time went on. It was just like how Linnell said, it's just more being taking care of you and making sure that you had everything that you needed than trying to trying to make that space for myself. And so as time went on, that kind of the healing help went on as time progressed. But it really was my first mindset is making sure you're okay and making sure that you had every essential thing that you needed as far as support that was there.
How has your loss affected other parts of your life, and what did you learn from that experience?
It was our first loss in the family that we've had, and so to realize this is really happening, it was a true appreciation of life, appreciation for one another. Um, it made it definitely the preciousness of life, the awareness that having a child is not as easy as one might think. That takes a lot of it takes a lot of patience, and the suffering of having that loss of realizing you appreciate what you've been blessed with.
Yeah.
The learning experience of it really did come to, okay, what am I supposed to get through this as I'm walking through this journey? Okay, what am I going to receive what am I going to gain from it? And it's kind of picking up pieces along the way. It's hard to acknowledge it in the midst of it, but it's finding those pieces along the way, and hindsight after being able to acknowledge what those are.
You got any specifics for me?
Yeah. Um, being able to, yeah, no, being able to be there for other fellas, recognizing their losses, whether it's like from them experiencing maybe a miscarriage, in their relationship, to stillborn themselves. Um, I remember being there for a friend, their couple, him and his wife, and just kind of being there with them as far as the different things that they were going through, and having that firsthand experience of, yes, this is rough, this is a dark experience, but in that, it's knowing, thank you, but it's realizing, okay, there's light even in these dark environments.
So what about you, Adele?
What about you, dear? How did it affect you, your life? And did you learn a lesson? I mean, and what did you learn out of it or from the experience?
Well, I must say it affected my life in in a way just I really couldn't believe I lost her one point,
Yeah.
So it's like I'm ready for my baby girl and now she's not here.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, should I question God about it? I'm like, no, because God knows what's best. So, and then like for my daughter, she always asks questions about her, you know, and she understands where she at. And then for my son, the same way, but they also understand. So it's like she always gonna be here with us, you know, as our angel in our home. So I mean, and then for the room that we had ready for her, it always, I don't care what we do to this room, it's always gonna be that's her room.
Yeah, that's her room.
You know, we turned it to whatever, but it's still her room.
Yeah.
So, well, from a learning experience though, it's like, I never thought in a million years that things like this happens until it happened to you, So I mean, it's real. It happens to people out there a lot. So this real great thing that we doing now is really that we sharing is real great for all the parents out there that lost their child. Yeah.
Specifically, how has I'm gonna switch it up. Go with Lydell. How has your relationship with your wife changed after the loss, or did it change at all?
Um, it changed to a point where I know for sure we love each other, and because it could have went in another direction, but we stayed strong together, and we supported each other, and it just and we got stronger. We got stronger. I know we got stronger because I didn't pressure her into having another child. I just wasn't gonna do it. So I left it all up to her. If she wanted another one, of course we'll go for another one. She didn't. I was fine with it either way.
Yeah.
So I just left the whole situation alone for a while and just let her heal and stuff like that. We just took our time day for day, hour for hour.
That's how you gotta do it.
And we got stronger. We got stronger. We got through it, but she's still our angel. So that's it.
And so for us, it was definitely a whole nother level of support for one another. Like we knew in our relationship, because we've been married for 6 years. When you were pregnant with Josiah, and so we already knew how we were supportive with one another as husband and wife. Then all of a sudden, it was this excitement of having a child on the way, remembering things of we may not be able to have kids before we knew that you were pregnant with Josiah.
It took us 6 years to get pregnant.
Yeah, and so
It took us a long time.
to be at that place of joy and then to immediately come into a place of loss is there. We built all the things of love, love and support that we have for each other. We kind of had that to lean back on and to be able to support one another, just to be able to love each other and to just be as close to being transparent as we could, as far as we would ask each other, how are we doing? And we would be flat out honest. Just dead honest. Okay, yeah. I'm doing okay. This is a rough day. This is a hard time. And we had our hard moments. We did. We had a lot of hard times, but then being able to be transparent and to be able to see one another as to, okay, I need to take off of work today. Just to be here, just to make sure we're good, and not to assume that, okay, I have to go and be separated for a long period of time. I remember one of the hardest things we had when we were looking for the shadow box for Josiah. We got separated. We were at a Hobby Lobby. And we went around the corner, and for 45 seconds we couldn't find each other. And the heartbreak that created was, I'm not about to leave you for a month. Like, 45 seconds wasn't, but it felt like we just lost our firstborn. We're not about to lose one another. And so we pulled each other. Yeah. We were pulled each other together. Yeah. We kind of panicked. Yeah. Full anxiety.
Yeah. Our son, we cremated our son. So we were looking for a memory box at Hobby Lobby to put everything in. And for whatever reason, he went one way and I went the other. And once we realized we weren't walking beside each other again, it was full on panic. So it was some of those moments of, okay, I can't let this person go.
I think it with us because ours was our second born, and we was like that with Kaya. Like, we didn't want her out of our sight.
Yeah. Yeah. I completely understand that. That is understandable. Absolutely.
So that was definitely, it's little things like that would normally weren't big deals.
Yeah, they seem insignificant, but they're really not.
But they hit our heart so hard that they just created triggers. One of the things I remember we did, as it was supposed to be designed as a form of kind of closure. We went later on in the year, so Josiah was born in July. In October, we went on this walk at this memorial, and Chris wanted to go, so I went in support. It was one of those of, well, we got our own support system within our home, but it's one of those of, let's go out there and experience it. I realized now after the fact that it triggered me like non-belief. What the memorial was is,
it was a bad idea.
The setup was, for me, it was a bad idea. It was a bad idea. The setup was families around the area around Austin would meet up at this funeral, at this cemetery. Thank you. And they would walk through the cemetery and release balloons at the end. The setting, I would never suggest you don't do that at a cemetery. I understand the thought behind it, but set it up, doing it at a cemetery was a horrible idea. It turned out to be real horrible. In the releasing of the balloons at the end, I broke down. I completely broke down. It triggered me horribly because it's wanting to be there to be supportive, but then to have it all just hit me like that, like a ton of bricks, threw me for a loop. It just took me completely out of my sync. And it was a realization of, okay, we honor our son a certain way. Yes. And we don't need to honor our son the way everybody else thinks they honor their loved ones, the ones that were lost.
Right.
So ingrained. That's what I love. What you guys are doing here is it's your own intimate way, and you have followers that are acknowledging and that are appreciative because they get their own intimate way.
Yeah.
Of loving, but also acknowledging those that they lost.
Yeah, I think my thought process behind doing that was I would be with other people who walk with that journey, but our journey was fresh. Like
Mm-hmm.
July, and we went on this walk in October. For us, that was too close.
Right.
We, like I said before, we cremated our son. So a lot of the people that went to this event, their children were buried in the cemetery. So for them, it was them going to visit their child. So it wasn't as heartbreaking for them. But for us, that was my bad.
Mm-hmm.
I know now we don't do that. But at the time, I thought it would be a good idea, but it was not. It was a very bad idea.
And we wouldn't have known anything about it until after we got on the other side of it.
We wouldn't have known.
And now it's an understanding.
That
you ain't gonna find me in a cemetery no more like that.
What are some of your triggers?
I don't really have no triggers. Really.
Like what probably that like makes you go into like deep thought? Is it like when we actually do go out to the cemetery?
Not really. I really have no triggers like to like bring tears to my eyes and stuff like that. I really have none. I know that you don't like going out there to the cemetery. I know that. But when she got her tombstone, I was like, wow, you know what I'm saying? I never would thought I'd be going out visiting my own child grave. You know, and that was like, you know, that's kind of it hit me right there. Like, wow, this, you know, she's really gone now that she got a tombstone, it's a headstone.
That made it real.
You know, but
I think that's when it really made it real. Once she got a headstone, it kind of made it.
So,
I know,
but I don't pressure her on going out there. I'd let her do it on her own free will. Yeah, you know, if she feel like going, I will go with her.
Yeah.
You know.
Has it become easier for you to go that? Has it become any easier for you to be able to go now?
We don't go out there very often. We go maybe once or twice out of the year. It's just like kind of how your story was. It's just the feeling of going out there. It just I don't like that feeling. I've had people go out there and then you know, maybe like FaceTime me, or like I just found out like a couple of days ago that one of my uncles was you know, mowing her grave. I don't go out there that often to even just see. If someone goes out there, then I have them check and let me know. It just brings back this feeling, and I hate walking away. Once I'm there, I hate to walk away, and I don't. And I think that's really the reason why we really just don't go out there. It's just it feels like I'm leaving all over again.
Yeah, it feels like a separation all over again.
Yeah.
Before we move on, I know trigger. Yeah. Okay. An additional trigger is kind of like my family. I have cousins that they had kids the same time we did, and so. Had all three of theirs. Our firstborn passed. Goodness. Okay, so Josiah was born in July. They had their first son in like April. So a few months beforehand. So it was one of those kind of being around them was interesting. As family is one of those. So this is where we are. This is what's going on. But it hurt. and then even the other we've had 3 kids. One is our angel baby through Josiah. That all their 3 kids are still there, and so I recognize that, like, I'll spend time with them from time to time. But I understand that even if it's a trigger for you, because of just that itself, is one of those our first sons would be the same age.
Yeah.
And so to see their son around and ours is in our hearts. That bothers. That bothers a lot from time to time. But it's family. I mean, I can't do anything about that. But it's realizing, okay, that's the case. And then I love my aunts to death. But every time they talk about our kids, the first name they bring up is Josiah, and they assume they take on Josiah uh, as if he's walking around with us, and it's one of those. And they mean to say our son Isaiah.
Yeah.
And
they get them mixed up sometimes.
Oh, a lot.
Yeah.
And so as much as I love this, it doesn't hurt, but it's just a realization of, okay.
Yeah. I know my mom, she counts. Like when people ask me how many children I have, I always say I have 3, and my oldest is an angel baby. And my mom, without even telling her, she does that as well. She says I have 3 grandchildren. So that is something that, like, I never asked her to do it, and it's something that I really appreciate that she does, because it means something to me that he meant that much to her too, which is he wasn't talking to me. I just thought I'd throw that in there.
So, are you raising your rainbow babies? I'm saying this all wrong. As you are raising your rainbow babies, how often do you reflect on your stillborn?
So I reflect on Josiah probably on a weekly basis. What was absolutely amazing is Josiah was born in 2011. Naomi came in 2012. And obviously through Chris's pregnancy with Naomi, it's, okay, God, how are you going to perform? How is this going to work? And the moment Naomi was born and we brought her home, she gave this loving, caring persona of Josiah through her. And it was the most incredible thing. It really has, to this day, is Naomi has always been a caregiver to the 2 of us. And so to actually see his spirit in his younger sister blows my mind. But I really do see Josiah would be 10 years old in October this year. He would be 10, Naomi's turning 9, and Isaiah would be turning 8. And so on a weekly basis, it's y'all's big brother he's taking care of you in his own spiritual way. But it would be absolutely something else to just see the 3 of them interact. And to have Isaiah to have a big brother to look up to, and then Naomi to have a little brother that's taking care of her. It would be the sweetest thing.
What about you, dear?
Well, let me put it all together. I mean, of course, LB, he's here now. I always wanted me a son. But when I found out having a daughter, I was like, okay, we got to try again for this boy, So, but it's like, wow. Then of course, that happened. And then my son. And of course, LB room, when we first built the house, the room was already here. The little boy room was already fixed up. So I'm like, okay, I'm having all these girls, but I don't have a boy. But like I said, God makes no mistakes. And just seeing LB growing up, I always reflect on, like, wow, I don't have my baby girl. She's an angel, but I have my son here. But I still do have my baby girl, but she's just not here. But it's just pretty much like an everyday thing, Like I go to my son's room, walk around. I come back in her room, walk around. Like, wow, like, should we have another baby? But we know we're not. We
Yeah.
We said it was it. We shut the door down on it.
No.
So we shut the door down on it because my daughter, she was like, someday she might say, I want a sister. Like, no, you, you got your sister.
Oh, look, she does not want a little brother. She wants a.
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't know
but
this. We done.
Yeah, we done.
yeah, but we done. We done, and God has truly blessed us, and on this journey, and we just gonna continue to move forward with our family and enjoy what God blessed us with, and that's it.
So, what is it like when, or if you do, because you might not do this, but what is it like when you imagine what life would be like had our kids not passed away?
It would be so. It would be amazing. I truly see that just because of the inspiration, the spirit, the life of who he is, and how he would interact with us. I can see him being a workaholic, just like his mom and his daddy. And what's so amazing is my dad had me out there working, doing his work with him at the age of 9 years old. I could easily see Josiah being out there working with me and enjoying that interaction, enjoying that so much. And then from his point of view, and then from him, his brother and sister realize, oh, he's getting this quality time with dad. I'm gonna come out there and find my own niche to be able to have that quality time. So
You trying to put the kids to work?
absolutely, that's always y'all gonna learn to work, and y'all gonna have a good work ethic in this life that you've been blessed with.
Oh yes,
Absolutely.
You gonna earn a paycheck. What you gonna do?
I definitely see sides of myself that would shine forth, in ways that are unique and different that don't go into Naomi and Isaiah.
Yeah.
Even right now.
So what about you? Do you see life a little bit different? Had your daughter not passed away?
Yes, a whole lot different.
Well, 2 girls.
Yeah.
2 girls.
2 girls. First off, a lot more money to spend. But yeah, I see it. It'll be different, and I can just pretty much see LB coming in here. Oh, they double teaming me, daddy. But it's just it would be amazing, to see both of them together at this point in life. It'll be truly amazing, from especially them dancing on the dance team, DC.
Oh, both of them want to
You
so.
I can just see them both getting it. But man, wow, that'll be truly something to see. But one day we'll see it.
Yeah, we will.
Yes, we will.
We'll see him. We'll see him one day.
Yes, we will.
Yes.
So how do you share your story with other dads you may come in contact with who may have experienced the loss or in the midst of experiencing this kind of loss?
Okay. Pretty much I have bumped into a friend guy that experienced the same thing, but I didn't know it until he pretty much told me his story. Because I can remember him telling me that his wife was pregnant, and I didn't really know how many months or nothing like that, So I kind of left it alone, and I come back, 3 months down the line, I had a conversation with him. He said, yes, they lost the baby. So I was like, okay. Because I remember you telling me your wife was pregnant, So I told him, sorry for your loss and stuff. And we went to talking, and I said, I touched on my experience, saying, so, I didn't know that happened to you too, So we just, I asked how his family was doing. in that matter and stuff like that. We just went on down the line, you know. He also had another baby boy after that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and he pretty much doing good, you know, stuff like that. And it was touching to share the story with him though. You know, it was real touching, you know. But we had to hurry up and end it because we was at work.
Yeah, the work
You know,
conversation gotta be kind of short.
I can hear what you say.
The work conversation is kind of short.
Yeah,
So what about
yeah,
you?
but it was. Huh?
Now go ahead.
What she say? Yeah.
Oh no, she was asking Judy.
Oh, okay.
Okay. um, what's interesting is that it's a touch and go type of thing when it comes to talking to other fellas. Um, because a lot of guys like ourselves is dealing with grief isn't something that guys want to open up to and communicate with. So I am more than willing. Okay. I'm more than willing to make myself vulnerable to be able to communicate and share with them um, as to what it is we've been through. A lot of times, a lot of fellas around don't want to talk and don't want to communicate. And so, as much as I would love to open that door to say, "Hey, I've been here," not necessarily saying it gets better, but being someone that has been through this, I'm here when you need me. And the opportunities aren't there always there.
Yeah.
When I'm at work, it's so interesting because I go a lot of times from place to place, but I'm there consistently every month. That it's always interesting to see either guys out there that their wives are pregnant and then being hesitant. I remember I got this one location that I did, and he was telling me that his wife is having a baby the next day. And so I'm excited and thrilled for him. And then a month goes by, I see him get busy working, don't get a chance to ask him any questions. And in my mind, I'm wondering, okay, I wanted everything go well. I wanted everything to get a chance to go well. And so finally, like last week, saw the same guy and got a chance to ask how everything was. And I was thrilled to hear him say it went well, that the baby's doing well and is strong. But it's not necessarily having a guard up, but being prepared to, if I hear someone say that they have lost a child, to be just kind of be present, to be just that, to be present instead of trying to make up a bunch of stuff. I just need someone to just kind of share my heart with, be open and available to.
Someone that's listening, which is good.
And so just being in a position to be vulnerable when that's necessary.
So, do you sometimes feel as if you would have been more vocal, you may have, I don't know, felt a little bit different if you've been more vocal about what you were going through at the time? Or do you feel like it happened and we're just going to add this as an experience in our life?
Yeah, I can't think of an environment outside of you and outside of my mom and dad that for me to express myself out like that, I wouldn't come off being a punk. There's no way of saying, hey, I mean, I'm dealing with this without vulnerability is a side of men that we just don't express ourselves in.
You're right.
And so trying to do that, most fellas that haven't experienced loss like that, they can't help you. It's one of those of, okay, pull it together. Let's talk about something else. Pull it together. Let's change the subject. And so that's, for me, that's not something that I would want to have to put somebody through. But yeah, for years, I don't have a whole lot to I can't express myself because I don't see towers of fellas around me that I can lean on, that I can lean my shoulder on when I need to. And so for years, I kept a lot of that stuff to myself just because I'm not going to put myself in a position that they say, straighten up, straighten up, you got work to do.
What about you? Is this your first time talking about it?
Yeah, I don't really say much about it. I pretty much I ain't just gonna if my wife want to talk about it, we'll talk about it. But
What about people outside?
people outside, they ask me how many kids you got. Oh, I got boy, I got a girl. I lost a baby. Oh man, I'm sorry for your loss. Then you go tell them your story, like man, they feel some type of way about it, even though they didn't experience it. Been through it. You know what I'm saying? But they be like, well, I didn't even know that Adele. I've been knowing you all them years. I said, yeah, but you finally asked me the question, so I brought it to you. I'm not gonna walk up and say I lost a baby. So, that's how it is, you know what I'm saying? But, I must say I have moments, where I get to myself. Like I sneak in the box. I used to sneak in the box and look, and I had her pictures and stuff like that, you know.
We have a keepsake
I
box.
got a keepsake box with all her things in it. I take a peek in it from time to time, you know. But my wife never sees me when I do it because I don't want her to start getting back on her feelings. So I do it. Now I do it from time to time. And I guess that's my way of getting through it. You know, getting through it.
First questions I asked: what was it like being in the hospital room while? Well, I know he was in the hospital room with me while I was delivering. So, what was it like that being for me? For me, I felt helpless, even though I was delivering the baby.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that I couldn't take him home, I was doing the work, but I felt helpless. So how did you feel in the hospital with me?
It was a shock of realizing she's about to deliver a body, but we can't take this body home. Like all the steps that were, and I've never been in a hospital room to see someone deliver a child before, but to actually see the processes be escalated so that it's not harming your body any further. But to actually be in the room while you're delivering with your side, it was surreal. It was surreal. It was surreal to even when we came home and you had to do what a friend of ours told you to use cabbages.
Yeah, I had
to keep yourself from your breast milk from leaking so much. And it's one of those of this. It is surreal. It hurts like hell to have to go through these steps, and we don't have anyone to account for this. So it was one of those of okay, it's not fair.
Yeah.
It's not fair. There's nothing right about this.
So were you able to be in the room with Letitia, or was it a
Yes. I pretty much felt the same way. You know, you know, I'm thinking like this can't be true. She got to say something. Even though doctor always gave us the news there's no heartbeat or whatever like that. But I still was in denial. I'm like, wow, if she come out of there, she gonna say something. You know. So I was looking, and she didn't say nothing. So it was like so real. So I had to pretty much accept the fact and go through the whole process. Clean the baby off. They wash the baby up, put the baby on some clothes, bring it to us, let us hold the baby, things like that. Just like thinking like, wow, what if she just opened up her eyes. Things like that. There's a lot of stuff running through our head during that time. In that time we was in that situation. So,
I know he just starts crying.
I mean, I was thinking maybe the nurses can take him in the back and resuscitate him. And he was 6 months old. 6 months. You were pregnant with him for 6 months, and so his organs and his body wasn't fully developed.
Yeah.
At that, no, at 6 months he was pretty.
He was pretty fully developed.
Pretty fully developed.
It was just
Yeah.
like we didn't really get a cause of death, if that makes sense. But after I delivered, they let him stay in our room for about an hour. So while he was in the room with us, I know for me, I kept thinking, what if he just starts crying? And I remember praying, God, just let him start crying. Just let him breathe. Just let him take a breath. Something. But in all of it, we've never had that part of the conversation of how you felt in the room with me. So I thought that was a question that I wanted the answer to.
Yeah, it was shock. It was, I can't believe this is happening. It was a sense of hopelessness. There's nothing that I can do to change this situation. Mm-hmm. Send the doctor, send the nurse back in here, do something to fix this. Because I can't fix this myself. We got all these professionals. Somebody can fix the situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you guys being vulnerable. It takes courage to be vulnerable. So I really appreciate you guys sitting with us and having this conversation with us.
Appreciate that too.
That are watching and that will watch this later, if you have any questions for us, you can put it in the chat of this video. You can email us. You can DM us. Facebook is Walk With My Angel. Instagram is A Walk With My Angel. You can email us at a walk with my angel at gmail.com. And we do have our annual walk coming up in July. It's been posted to our social media platforms. This will be our 4th year.
Yeah, it'll be our 4th year.
Last year we had to do virtual, so we was in our backyard. Right. This year we're gonna bring it back to the park, and we're gonna have it in person. We will do social distancing, and we will do a memorial craft in memory of our miscarried babies and our stillborn angels. Haven't come up with what it's gonna be yet. But it may be similar to the one we did last time. If you were there, you still have your frame with the printed image of the baby's name on it. We may do something like that. We may switch it up and do something a little different this year. I don't know yet. But that is coming up in July. Again, I really want to thank you guys for joining us. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, baby.
Thank you.
I know this was part of going through a pregnancy. As the women, we are the one carrying the babies, but our husbands and our spouses, they walk the journey with us. So it was really good to have the other side of that conversation, the other side of that experience. Any final remarks for us, Miss Letitia?
Yeah. What you got? What you got?
Thank you both for joining us. It was just interesting because it's some of the stuff that Dale mentioned is my first time hearing it as well. And it's his, actually, I think it's his first time really just opening up about it and talking so openly about it. So I think that that everything went good tonight, and that they're, that it'll, maybe help some of the other fathers that's been through it once they see you guys video and open up and talk. So it'll be a healing process for them as well.
Well, all right. Our lovely people, we thank you for joining us. We will have this once again in July. July will be our, we will have another guest in July. It'll be, we'll be talking about infertility. July. So it'll be the last Wednesday in July is our monthly video podcast. So you'll see us again on July 31st, which interestingly enough is a Saturday. So yeah.
Okay.
I didn't realize that was a Saturday. No, wait, sorry. Scratch that. Right? Scratch that. I'll look at my calendar wrong. My bad. The last Wednesday of the month is the 28th.
Yeah, I was like, Chris, don't scare me now. I told her the 28th.
The last Wednesday of the month is when we go live and we have a discussion. So in July, July 28th, we'll be talking about infertility, and we'll have another special guest with us. So again, we thank you so much. We thank you, Tiffany. We thank you, Miss Nikita, for joining us today. And we hope that you will share this with someone who maybe is walking through this journey, has walked through this journey. That especially for our men, it's a different experience on that side. So we want our men to know that our men, you're not by yourself. You might not have a gang or a group to talk to, but at least you know that you're not really walking this solo and by yourself. So once again, we thank you for joining us, and we will see you in July. Y'all have a blessed night.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.